Good afternoon, everyone. If you could please make your way to seats, that would be great. And I want to start off the program by having Sari Erickson, one of our students, and Chuck Dillard, one of our faculty members, do a performance for us. Thank you, Sari and Chuck. That was absolutely wonderful. It's just so great to have an opportunity to showcase our students and our talented faculty, so thank you very much. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sanne Andrews, and I'm the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs here at Portland State, and I am going to be your, I don't know if you say mistress of ceremonies, or I'm going to be your host for this event. And tonight is bittersweet for us because we are going to be celebrating the accomplishments of our president, Wiewel, and also saying goodbye as he leaves this presidency, which he served for 9 years. I, like the rest of you, are incredibly grateful for Vim and Alice and what they have done for our PSU community, for the region, for our state, and for what they've done to sort of enrich our lives. It's just been so much in terms of doing things for students, faculty, and staff, and making PSU possible to shine. We have a program full of wonderful speakers to pay tribute to Vim and Alice. I do not know what they're going to say, so I'm not sure if it's going to be a toast or a roast. But you'll have to wait and see. And the other thing is on your tables there are 3x5 cards. And for those of you that know Vim, where are you? Oh, there. For those of you who really know Vim, you know he loves his 3x5 card. You'll see him pull it out of a jacket pocket. So what we're asking you to do is to write some notes on those 3x5 cards, leave them at your table. We will pick them up afterwards and create something for Vim that he can remember all of us by for years and years to come. And you can just be pulling out those 3x5 cards whenever you like. I'd like to start, however, by reading two letters, and the first one is from Senator McKee, and he really talks about the contributions that Vim has made not only to this state, but also to our nation. So this is from Senator McKee. Dear President Wim Wiewel, on behalf of all Oregonians, I thank you for your service in higher education. Through improving Portland State University's students' financial literacy, positioning PSU at the forefront of climate action, improving diversity at the university, and increasing funded research among faculty, you have helped cultivate Oregon's and America's next generation of innovative ideas and leaders. As you enter retirement, know that Oregon higher education is stronger because of your service. And that's from Senator McKee. I also have a letter from Senator Wyden. Dear President Wiewel, while I could not be here today, I did want to offer my most sincere congratulations for your success of many years, of 9 years, of leadership at Portland State University. You exemplify what it means to be a driven and dedicated leader. During your time at PSU, student enrollment has grown, and PSU has maintained its strong reputation for being ahead of the curve. This did not happen by osmosis. It was your commitment to equity and partnership that helped catapult PSU to the top of the national rankings. I hope you will continue to influence the great efforts you have started here on this campus and in the community. I have enjoyed working with you over the years, and I wish you the best. So it's really a nice tribute, I think, for both of our senators to send those greetings. And now I have the pleasure of welcoming to the stage Rick Miller, who is incoming chair of our PSU Board of Trustees, a donor, and an alumni of the university. So Rick, welcome.
There we go, that should work. All right. Vim, have you had a beer? Are you relaxed? Okay. Well, I got to tell you, it's a real honor to be here today to talk about a man who's been inspirational, a great friend, and a mentor to me. I want to talk briefly, I want to highlight a couple of two career-defining accomplishments for Vim, in my opinion. And the first is to recognize the role that Vim played, really instrumental in convincing the governor and the legislature to establish the independent boards that we have here at Portland State and the other Oregon public universities. That took a bold vision, Vim. You took some personal risk, and it took a lot of persistence, which we all know that you have. You carried the water and you got the job done. And I think the impact that you've made by getting these boards established will be good and will be realized. The good will be realized for decades to come. The second is, if you know Vim, you know he is a good fundraiser. Persistence comes to mind again to me when I think about this. Once he has an idea in his head, and if he's got you in his crosshairs, it's time to give up, give in, and join. Eric and I learned this lesson the hard way. When he was on a mission, ultimately some of our conversations ended up or evolved kind of like this. Vim, okay, we get it, Vim. I tell you what, I'll make you a deal. If you don't come over again tonight, we'll make the donation. I think I can speak for the board. I know that I do. Vim, you've been delightful to work with. You're a great listener. You've been responsive. You're deliberate and thoughtful in your decision-making. You're an excellent CEO, and we've been lucky to have you. The last story that I want to share about our friend tonight, and again, if you know Vim, you know he's got a dry sense of humor, and he's proud of his heritage, as he should be. A couple months ago, we were out for lunch, I think beer, And, Wim is from the Netherlands. And I didn't think about it. And I looked at him, and the bill came to the table, and I said, well, why don't we go Dutch, Wim? He said, Rick, that's offensive to Dutchmen. It makes us look cheap. Well, in the end, he was obviously so offended by what I had to say, he let me pay for the bill. By all measures, though, sincerely, Wim, as a leader, as a husband, as a father, and a friend, and a mentor, you're the kind of man that most of us only aspire to be like. Your impact has been profound. Your legacy will be acknowledged and admired for years to come. Thank you so much for the remarkable impact that you and your wife, Alice, have made on our community and our university. Thank you.
Rick, thank you so much for those great words about Wim and Alice. And I want to talk about our next speaker just briefly. As many of you know, PSU has an amazing partnership with OHSU, and it's made such a positive impact on our community. And Wim and Dr. Joe Robertson are really the individuals responsible for that. So I'd like to ask Dr. Joe Robertson, president of OHSU, to say a few words.
Thank you. Good evening. And it is indeed a pleasure and honor to be here. And Wim, you have done so many things, and so many tonight will list your myriad accomplishments. So I want to specifically thank you for your leadership in the partnership with OHSU. And this has been a golden age of collaboration between PSU and OHSU, and it tracks very specifically with Wim's presidency. And I had the pleasure of being on the search committee when Wim was selected. We got it right. And we bonded immediately. And Wim had the ability to see what the synergy could be and could actually see that we would be much better together. And it has just been a pleasure to work together in so many ways. As I was preparing for these remarks tonight, I thought I would catalog them, but there are far too many. So let me just hit some of the highlights. And that would include a joint MBA in healthcare, the OHSU PSU School of Public Health, and the Collaborative Life Sciences building. And we're currently working on 2 additional buildings together, the Viking Pavilion and the building that will house many PSU functions, and including the Joint School of Public Health. So the real key to this collaboration was that Wim and I had an agreement about how it would work. And the basic agreement went something like this: we just won't disagree. And if we had a problem, we said, we're not going to disagree. And we would send it back to our teams and said, we want to see this again when it's been brought forth in a manner that we can agree. And that's pretty much how we did, and that's pretty much how it worked. But it's just been a pleasure to be able to, through Wim's eyes, also see everything that PSU has to offer and see the great opportunity for our 2 institutions to work together. So I do have to relate the favorite conversation that I had with Wim. He's already smiling. He doesn't know which one, though. But he called me. It's related to what Rick said. And he said, Joe, we're raising money for the Viking Pavilion. I need $1 million. I said, Wim, let me think about it. I called him back about a week later and said, Wim, I won't give you $1 million, let it pause, but I'll invest 7 if we can be a partner. And that because again, we saw the opportunity. So Wim, thank you. We will miss you. Patricia and I wish you and Alice well. We hope that in your retirement you will be able to afford yourself of so many opportunities here in Portland that as a university president you don't get to take advantage of. So thank you for all you've done for PSU, for OHSU, for Portland and our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robertson. I can attest to the fact that if we didn't get it right, they would send it back to us all the time to work on things related to the partnership. So, we now have a short video that we'd like to share with you.
Hi, I'd like to tell you about one of Oregon's most influential figures. He has a PhD in sociology, and he's president of Oregon's most diverse university. Who am I talking about?
Wiewel?
Fievel?
Wiewel.
That's right, Fievel. Vim is an old friend of mine, and I want to take just a few minutes to tell you about his great legacy. Way back in the olden days of 2008, the new president of Portland State, accompanied by the mayor, that was me, rode in on his bicycle for his first day of work. Vim felt right at home, easily adjusting to the campus culture. Most days at Portland State, he walks into work and bids students good morning. Vim regularly climbs the 8 flights of stairs on his way to his office. Once at his desk, like a good Portlander, he enjoys his morning coffee. Then begins his full day of emails, meetings, and the various duties tasked to a university president. Encouraging the campus bike culture, President Fievel often orders lunch from Jimmy John's.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey there. I have a sandwich for a Wiewel.
Between increasing enrollment and expanding campus infrastructure, the president maintains his social media presence with the help of his daughter, a current student at PSU.
Let's try it.
All right.
Look. Oh no, it says Jim Fievel.
But after 9 years of being at the helm of Portland State, the charm of his day-to-day is dwarfed by his enormous impact on the university.
The first thing that Vim has done in impacting Portland is in making Portland State more accessible to a larger number of students. And he has increased the outreach and the partnerships that Portland State has with some very key institutions.
The two things that mean the most to me about his leadership are his focus on equity and diversity and his focus on sustainability. Our motto is let knowledge serve the city, and we've gone beyond that under his leadership.
The defining characteristic for me of his tenure as president of Portland State is he is the most urban of our presidents. He just personifies what we wanted to have as somebody leading the university at this critical time.
The physical nature of the campus has changed in 10 years more than it probably changed in its history before that. And again, I'd lay that at the feet of President Fievel.
The bottom line for Vim is he cares deeply, and his presence will be missed in the years ahead.
Vim is more than just his achievements, and there are several people who have a few words for what Vim means to them.
3 words or less about Vim, I would say
Equality, integrity, academic.
Steadfast, perseverance, passionate.
Strategic, dynamic, and innovative.
Vibrant, visionary, Viking.
set the bar higher. Set the bar higher.
For me and many here at Portland State University, President Fievel really exemplifies one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s quotes, and that is that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy.
I'm a geology professor. I've been teaching for 47 years, so I've had a chance over that period of time to know 10 different university presidents. And Vim is one that has been very, very close to me, and I think that he shows so many incredible traits that a great president shows.
You have been somebody who has shown a willingness to put a lot of trust in people, to help them develop, to encourage them, to make them better at what they do.
Vim, thank you so much for what you've done to create a more seamless system of education in this community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Fievel.
Thank you, President Fievel, for all that you've done.
For this campus community.
And the city of Portland.
You will be sorely missed.
We are excited for whatever your future brings.
produced by one of our former PSU students, and what a great job. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Boersma. Boers is an alum, a key donor for PSU, a former board member, a friend to Vim and Alice, and to so many of us. So please welcome Dr. McKee to the stage.
I have a few things to say tonight. Yes. Good evening. I must start by saying it's really an honor and a distinct pleasure for me and my family to be here, to be with Wim and his family and the family of Portland State. When they called my office a few days ago, or it was a couple of weeks ago actually, they told us somehow that this is the farewell roast of Wim Wiewel, and could you make a video for it? And I said, video? I want to go personally and do this to Wim. So we jumped on the plane, we came here to do the honor. In the past few days, I've been writing a lot of Portland and Irish jokes, Dutch jokes for Wim. But tonight I get a sense that this is a lot more civil and more serious event, so the result of all those work down the tube. And I had a lot to say, by the way, but now I hear all these nice comments and accolades about Wim. Jokes aside, Wim, I want to personally thank you on behalf of a citizen for all you've done for Portland State. You've given a lot more brand and a lot more importance to the degrees that we've received at Portland State, and for what you've done for Portland, Oregon. They say, as the video indicated, the size of the man is not the size of his checkbook or the cost of his possessions. I think the size of the man can be best described by the size of his shoes. Wim, you have left giant shoes to be filled, and for that we are all very, very grateful. This is not a goodbye. You're going to be here. We're going to work together and do a lot more things in the future. I'll read through this some other day for you, and thank you for everything that you've done.
Thank you, Dr. McKee. Many of you probably heard last week about the generous $5 million gift by Jordan Snitzer for the Jordan Snitzer Art Museum. And I'm delighted to welcome Jordan to the stage.
Walking up the stairs a few minutes ago, I realized the first time I was in this space, I was a junior in high school. And since we weren't allowed to come to the Amazing Turtles concert here, any of you remember that group? And the fabulous psychedelic light show, it was nice actually walking up and coming up those stairs without having to worry about being caught. But in thinking about that first visit here in that psychedelic light show, Wim, you've been an absolute shining star to this university and this community. And over the years, for those of us, irrespective of where we went to school within this state and our allegiances to many of the fine educational institutions, it's always been apparent to me, with the fact that business-wise I operate up and down the West Coast, that until Portland had a major humanities and technology and engineering university in its midst, we would be lagging behind lots of other communities. And it's been a tough, tough struggle for Portland State, being overshadowed by Oregon State and U of O for years. And bit by bit, it's come along. But when you got here, you added a whole other level of credibility. And you helped take this and those words that Earl Blumenauer talked about your being a city person, really shows. And what's happened here inspires all of us. And it's always a combination of the right professional leadership and lay leadership. And you've been that wonderful working partner. And I know I speak for all of us that it's not just that you've known how to build departments and run a university, but from my observations of you, you've never worn your ego on your sleeve. I mean, you've just been another person coming to work and seeing yourself on an equal level as all the other wonderful people here. And that was inspiring from a personal standpoint to see that. And lastly, it gave me just a sense of great honor last week when we were able to announce this wonderful art museum, and especially appreciative to all of you and all the other millions of people in the state through the legislature that committed that $60 million to renovate a building that is a bit bunker-like into the wonderful new hacker-designed glass transparent building that will further just transform this university. And I was honored to be involved with the art museum there. And as many of you know, we dedicated a classroom on the lower level of the museum, the Wim and Alice Wiewel room, which will be used for teaching and classes and lectures about art and so forth, and as a lasting physical place that commemorates and honors the wonderful leadership you've had. So from all of us, you've just taken this to another level, and we're delighted you're staying in this community and still going to be a part of it and continue to help build what you started in different ways. So thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with you and know you.
Thank you, Jordan, not only for those comments, but again for the generous gift that you made to the university. So the next person I want to introduce is Carmen Rubio, who has many connections with PSU. She's the immediate past president of All Hands Raised. She is the executive director of the Latino Network, and she serves on the Oregon Higher Education Coordinating Commission, the HEC. So please welcome Carmen Rubio to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. It's been so inspiring this evening to listen to everybody's personal testimonies about President Wievel's impact on this institution and in this state. And so that's why I'm super honored to be here to share a few words with you from the perspective of a community partner, a board colleague, and also an ardent fan of the president. Wim's impact on the community has been profound. I first met him when I was transitioning into being a new nonprofit executive director, and he reached out because he wanted to genuinely understand the issues and challenges faced by many of the Latino and immigrant students and families that we serve. I remember his very inquisitive line of questioning, and we had a great conversation about those challenges and about potential opportunities to address them as a community. And I've since had the honor of serving with him for several years on the All Hands Raised Board, Leadership Council, and Board of Directors. And earlier today, as I was thinking about what I wanted to say, I asked my good friend Dan Ryan, who's the executive director of All Hands Raised, what attributes of Wim's that he most admired in our work together over the years at All Hands Raised. And I actually, full disclosure, I texted him. He texted me back, and this is what he said. He said, his Dutch directness. There is no hidden agenda with Wim. And I wholeheartedly agree. This is what we all have come to appreciate about Wim, his penchant for honest conversations and a sincere curiosity for exploring all aspects of a challenge or an idea to get us to a better and more elegant solution. And unbeknownst to him, it is in this that he has been a mentor personally to me. And yes, even when it's an unpopular thing to do so. So I've been able to witness the impact of Wim's leadership in my role at the Higher Education Coordinating Commission and the work that he and his team at PSU have undertaken over the last several years to prioritize access and completion for first-generation students, students of color, and underrepresented students are a model for others to follow. And in this, he has been unwavering. And because of this leadership, PSU has led the way in taking clear steps to promote student access, retention, and the feelings of inclusion on campus for all students. Vim was among the first university presidents in Oregon to champion tuition equity for Dreamers. I remember this, so thank you, Vim. And he also championed the creation and expansion of 3 more cultural centers here on campus for Latino students, Asian American students, and Pan-African students. So Vim, you are a true champion for equity and the underserved. Where others may take a generation, you've done these things with bold, decisive leadership in the span of a few years because they are the right thing to do, and with no apologies. I personally learned so much from you, and I only hope that you will continue to engage with and stand alongside us, the community, as we continue to move forward in this important work, and especially now in these challenging times. So on behalf of all of us, your community partners, students, first-generation families, your friends, mil gracias. We thank you and we honor you for your visionary and inclusive leadership, for your deep commitment to equity, and always for you and Alice's dedication to improving the education and life opportunities for students from all backgrounds and in every community. It's been my honor to work with you and learn from you, and from our Portland family to yours until we meet again. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Carmen. So business partnerships are incredibly important to Portland State, and Greg Ness has been one of those great partners in his role both as president and CEO of the Standard Insurance Company and is a key member of the Affordability Coalition. He's also an alum of Portland State, so please help me welcome Greg Ness to the stage.
Well, thanks. And Vim, it's wonderful to be here tonight to send our best wishes to you and Alice on your future adventures. Thank goodness for Alice. Somebody who's had the tough task of keeping Vim in line all this time. That's a noble venture, Alice. We're all very grateful for you, so thank you very much. You know, our company started here in downtown Portland in 1906, and now we're one of the largest employers downtown. We have thousands of employees. And the good news is that there's an awful lot of those employees that are here at Portland State every single week. They're either attending classes, they're teaching classes, they're sharing what they've learned back to other students, or they're continuing to complete degrees, as I did in 1987 when I had my MBA from PSU. We see the training that students receive here, the critical thinking, and very importantly to us at the Standard, what we see is their desire to make this a better community. And that's a really important part of who we are. We like that a lot. Vim, thanks for leading the way there. That doesn't happen without the tone at the top. And I appreciate what you've done there. Vim and I actually co-chair the Coalition for Student Affordability and Success. You know, the idea here really is to create some funds to help students complete their college education in a timely manner and move into the workforce so that they can be successful. We may have differed on our approach to the problem, but we certainly didn't differ on our recognition of the problem and the desire to do something about it. We also agreed that a strong coalition between business and PSU was absolutely imperative to making this work. And I think we're well on our way to creating that. I have a very good sense that we'll make great progress on that, and I believe both PSU as well as the business community will be the supreme beneficiaries of that, as well as a whole lot of folks that might not have been able to finish school here, and that's even better. So Vim, I just want to say thank you very much for all you've done for this university community, for our Portland community, for our state. It's absolutely awesome. We are far better off because of your 9 years with us here. And when a leader can look back at that and see that, I think that is the absolute true test of a leader. So we want to say thank you very much. You absolutely left it in far better shape than you found it. We wish you much success on your sabbatical and look forward to seeing you around campus. Congratulations.
Thank you, Greg. It's now my pleasure to introduce Ethan Sperry and the PSU Chamber Choir, who will sing the Battle of Jericho. But I have to say, Vim and Alice have gone to so many concerts that our choir has given, our chamber choir has given. This time, Vim and Alice, they're singing for you.
Does this work if I talk like that? Vim and Alice, thank you for your support for students in performing arts. To see the president of the university at a concert means a tremendous amount. And you've been such amazing supporters, and the students know that, and they understand that. And thank you. I think you know the chamber choir is larger than this. Some of them have exams. Some of these people have exams right now, and they're skipping them because they care more about you. So you are reducing PSU's graduation rate.
Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. The walls come tumbling down. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. The walls come tumbling down. The battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Talk about your kings of Gideon. Talk about your men of Saul. Yes, you can talk about good old Joshua and the battle of Jericho. That morning, Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. The battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Right up to the walls of Jericho. Jericho. He marched with spear in hand. Oh, that whole Joshua cried. It was the battle in my hand. Then the lamb she bones begins to blow, and the trumpet begins to sound. Joshua commanded the Jericho to shout, and the walls come tumbling down. You know that Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. The walls come tumbling down. Oh Lord, you know that Joshua fit the battle of Jericho.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Ethan, and the PSU Chamber Choir. And I will, as your provost, you and I will be having a conversation after this to talk about why those students are not taking their final exams. So, we've also asked a faculty member and a staff member to say a few words. And first, I'd like to welcome Dr. Carlos Crespo. He's a faculty member in the joint OHSU-PSU School of Public Health, and has had the opportunity to do a lot of work with VIM over the last couple of years. So, Carlos?
Good evening. This is a very special moment for me to address President Wievel and say goodbye. The first time I met President Wievel, we were at the Dulles International Airport in Washington, D.C. I was flying back on United. We'll come back to United in a minute. The flight was actually overbooked. 9 years ago, the flight was overbooked. And some of you might know my wife is Dutch. And I had introduced my wife to President Wievel. And while I was dealing with the United front desk, they were talking Dutch, and as soon as they were done, we were overbooked. He moved on to come to Portland, but I stayed behind. And I remember he telling to me in Dutch, Carlos, I'll see you later. And I responded, it tastes very good. In my limited Dutch.
My wife looks at me and she told me, he will never forget you. And actually he did not. Immediately in his first year, he asked me to chair a Latino Student Success Task Force. And that we call Éxito Part 1. And in less than 5 years after that task force recommendations came, we basically doubled the number of Latino students at Portland State University. And one of the things I remember is we like to give recommendations knowing that half of them will be implemented. But the 4 main recommendations had to do with Portland State. They were all implemented on time, under budget. But that commitment actually did show up in terms of increasing the number of underrepresented students. We followed that Éxito with Bill Éxito, which is an NIH grant that addresses underrepresentation of underrepresented students in biomedical research. And I do recall the idea of having some big ideas and going for things that we probably might think might not be doable. But it was his support and his commitment to big ideas that allows us to be to where we are now in terms of getting a large number of underrepresented, a very diverse university nowadays. We're planning on Éxito Part 3, and that's Éxito Plus, and we'll move forward in that direction. I want to thank you for supporting these big ideas, men with a great vision, a commitment for equity, and somebody who has a fearless attitude that run and rub on us faculty. And I think that I appreciate, and I appreciate your mentorship throughout the years. Thank you.
So thank you, Carlos. I'd now like to introduce Andrea Johnson, who's our University Budget Director. She has some words about Vim. Vim, I want to tell you, she did not find the big bag of money under your desk. It just is not there, just so you know. So with that, I'd like to introduce Andrea.
Thank you, Sanne. So I first met President Wievel in the spring of 2008. At that time, he was a finalist in our search for a new president, and I was a student worker who answered the phone in the Office of Finance and Administration. Many of you will remember that was when it was located in the Park Mill building. We were on the second floor. There was a big fishbowl, and I sat in the fishbowl. I could tell he was somebody I should learn more about, even though I had no clue who he was. I sent him off to talk with Lindsay DesRochers, who was the Vice President of Finance and Administration at that time. But I soon learned that he would be our next president, the one who was charged with moving PSU from adolescence to adulthood. I've had the pleasure of working with President Wievel over the last 9 years, first as a student, then as a budget analyst and advisor to the Student Fee Committee, and most recently as a university budget director. Here are a few things I've learned over the years. First, President Wievel likes clear, solid plans in place, especially when it comes to presenting information. He writes meticulous notes, hence the 3x5s, and practices what he's going to say ahead of time. So last-minute changes, which often happen in my line of work when you're forecasting revenues and costs, can make him uncomfortable. However, you would never know that. When he steps up to this podium, he exudes confidence, he is reassuring, and he is steady. Second, unless you're a human calculator, don't ever expect to beat him at doing math in your head. I have tried over the years, and I have just given it up. So, finally, President Wievel pays attention to people and cares. He's always had a smile and a kind word for me as we've passed each other across the campus. He's given me advice and opportunities for development and growth in my career. He is interested in and cares about the success of our students, the achievements of our faculty and staff, and most importantly, about Portland State. President Wievel, thank you for the last 9 years. Your leadership has guided Portland State through those awkward teenage years and has set us up for success as we move into a full-grown university.
Thank you, Andrea. And she didn't have the big pile of money up here either. We also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge Alice Fievel. She has made so many amazing contributions to Portland State. Many of you know that Alice is our state architect, but she does an incredible amount for PSU. And here to talk about Alice's role as a contributor to PSU is one of our foundation board members, a donor, an alum, and a friend, Mary Dick.
Thank you, Sanne. Thank you very much. And good evening, dignitaries and friends and gentlemen and ladies. I have to get a couple of jokes in, though, about the Dutch thing, especially from the budget director. Very thrifty. Dutch people are very thrifty. There's Dutch ovens, Dutch uncles, Dutch treats. But I bet you don't know how the copper penny was made. It's 2 6'8" Dutchmen tug-of-warring over a penny. Anyway, that was I had to get that in. So our grand finale tonight, I invite you to salute Alice. I met Alice for the first time November 3rd, 2012, when the Vikings played North Colorado at the stadium. I thought, what a friendly person, big smile, easy conversation, but kind of short in stature. But I could relate to that myself. Then I learned she was the First Lady of PSU, not her words exactly, but that impression stuck with me, including that she was still short in stature. Throughout the next year, I schooled myself in all things new at PSU, because I was curious about the growth, since I attended PSU in the late 70s as a night student, a very common MO for PSU students then and now. Well, Alice grew in my estimation. The synergy between Alice and all alums, I soon learned, was a monumental welcome home to the PSU fold. Umbrella Tours united alums through the incredible campus updates. She and Vim reached out and engaged us. The Alice and Vim team was a winner. They led by example. They were everywhere. They attended everything. They were all in. Alice and Vim showed up. One Friday morning in January 2013, I received an invitation to join the Founders Circle of Alice's Swim Club. Swim Club? I thought, me? Swim? I think they have the wrong email. Anyway, I had to think twice. She had organized and named Alice's Swim Club, a gathering of like-minded women to explore ideas that matter in a closed private setting, in an atmosphere of friendship. She organized expert faculty to curate topics and guide discussions. We were challenged to think of Alice's Swim Club as a graduate seminar with your favorite professors in your own home and no finals. To prepare for our professors, we were given reading materials, videos, a special dinner at June's to sample grass-fed beef from the Carmen Ranch, an exceptional dinner and lecture by Professor Izumi at the Helen Gordon Center, where children shared their own veggies that they'd grown in the garden. We talked about how to legislate for healthy school lunches. Over the 5 swim club years, we listened to current views on public health, smart cities, transportation, aging, irrigation systems locally and internationally, to name a few. All discussions being led by our own PSU faculty and Alice. Uniting us in conversations about poignant issues was Alice's genius at work. The wonderful outcome of Alice's Swim Club was friendship, education, raising scholarships, which the swim team dispersed to 15 students. As usual, Alice always gave credit to those on her swim team, Teresa and Sanne, and member donors, all while leading and organizing us toward greater awareness. So in conclusion, please join me in this little exercise. Close your eyes for a second and imagine Alice. Not so short in stature now, right? But a towering woman, leader, and friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I want to give Alice a hug too, but I'll come down there and do that later. I will say that Mary always did her homework in the swim club, even though it wasn't required homework. So now what I'd like to do is have our chamber choir do another performance for us.
Sacred chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift, the baffled king composing. It's not a cry that you hear at night, it's not somebody
Gosh, I think I scared them so much about their exams, they just took off. They're just absolutely terrific. Right now, I'd like to invite Kimberly Cooper, who is the president of our PSU Foundation Board, to join me here on the stage. And what we'd like to be able to do is to honor Vim and Alice, and I'm going to turn it over to Kimberly to do that.
It's been said that we make a living by what we get, and we make a life by what we give. And Vim and Alice are that rare and successful couple who have managed to successfully do both while here at Portland State. They've truly given much to our community, to our great university, to our great city, to our great state, and to so many people who have benefited from their generosity. Many of you might recall a time back in 2011 when President Fievel gave back funds that were intended as a pay raise for himself, and he used those funds to start an equal access scholarship program for students at PSU who were committed to pursuing their higher education. He wanted anyone with a drive and the motivation to be able to come here and succeed. And he put his own money where his mouth was in supporting that commitment. In the years since then, the foundation has worked with President Fievel and team to help raise funds to continue to support those equal access scholarships. Many of you have generously donated to those, and you've helped more than 665 students complete their degrees at PSU through the Equal Access Scholarship Program. These are students like Jeannie, whose parents immigrated to America so that Jeannie and her siblings could have a better life. Jeannie is pursuing her graduate degree at Portland State because she knows that her path to success for her family and for the Vietnamese community is when students like her graduate both high school and college and go on to give back to their communities here in Portland. Jeannie plans to use her degree to work with underserved communities to address the demands of poverty, social justice, and community development. It's also helped students like Kenneth, who at the age of 2 years old developed such severe lead poisoning that he couldn't even walk easily, let alone read or write or go to school and be successful. And Kenneth worked hard to overcome those challenges, the lead poisoning that he received as a result of toxicity in homes. And he plans to pursue his degree, his graduate degree in urban planning, to work to eliminate buildings that are full of toxic waste and replace them with newer homes, newer businesses, parks, and places that are beautiful additions to the community and don't contribute to health issues like his own. When Vim first told me that he was retiring, after I caught my breath, and I had the presence of mind to ask him, well, what is it that you want your legacy to be here at Portland State? And without skipping a beat, he said, equal access and student success. And so last fall, many of you were at the Simon Benson Awards dinner when we planted the seeds and announced that we were starting to raise funds for a Wiewel presidential scholarship program that would continue to benefit equal access students. And those seeds have planted and growing and growing. And by the way, there's more room for you to plant more seeds, anybody in the room who's interested. But I'm really delighted, Vim and Alice, to announce to you today that they have surpassed the threshold for an endowment, and those funds will be used in perpetuity to honor the Wiewel name going forward for students with diverse backgrounds and bright futures. So we're really pleased to be able to honor you in this way. It's a great joy to continue your wonderful spirit of giving, and this is truly the gift that keeps on going. So thank you so much, and congratulations on your retirement.
So in addition to that wonderful gift for our future students, there's a tradition that universities have when someone leaves the institution. They typically give someone a chair. Oftentimes it might be a rocking chair, but PSU is not a traditional place. So we want to present Vim with a more fitting gift. And it's actually this bookcase, and I'd like Vim for you to come up to the stage now. And I want to present you with a plaque that has the inscription that says, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more." And then what does it say? And become more. You are a leader. So Vim, I just want to say a few things, and we are going to turn the podium over to you. You have made such an impact on PSU, and the successes that you have and our successes have really been because of your great leadership. And every time you pull a book off of that bookshelf, we hope you think of us and look at the plaque. And I have to say to everybody, I've never had a more amazing boss than I have with this university president. It has been a joy for all of us to work with you side by side and to learn from you. And it's just been a great thing for PSU. And now I get to turn the podium over to him. I'm a little worried. I don't know how long you're going to talk, but Vim, anyway, congratulations.
Thank you, Sanne. First of all, I want to ask Alice to come up because I know Alice wanted to say a few words. So, honey, if you would do that first, and then I will say a few words. There are steps here also, actually.
Well, all I want to say is looking across this room, I see friends. See, he's still telling me what to do, right? I see friends, I see family, I see community. What an incredible ride this has been. It has been so enriching for me, for my family, and I hope that it's been meaningful and useful to you. And Mary, I am so deeply touched by the words that you said. This has been just amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. And as you all know, this truly has been a partnership and something I absolutely could not have done alone. Let me take this opportunity to introduce the rest of our family who is here. Our daughter, Ellen, and her daughter, Leah, our until now only grandchild. Next to her, our son, Dan, who is getting married at the end of July. Leah needs playmates. Our son Sam, who is an MFA student at the University of Texas in Austin. Our daughter Kelly, who is graduating from Portland State this Sunday. She's been incognito because she has a different last name. That's why she's been flying under the radar, but we can out her now. And my in-laws, Ari and Julie Hartman, who moved with us to Oregon when we came here. you all remember our good friend Jay Leno, and he used to do these top 10 lists. So I thought about, what are the top 10 things that I will miss about PSU that I could talk about in polite company? So I thought I'd start with number 10 is actually this amazing view that I have from my office of the city, the campus, the mountains, that really just brings together to me that spirit of Portland State, of the connection between the city and the campus and the beauty of Oregon, being able to look out on Mount St. Helens and Mount Hood. That's definitely something I'll miss. Number 9, the park blocks, the farmers market, the kids playing hacky sack. When I see that, I always feel we're on a real campus. The live music, just the vibrancy of that place. Number 8, I will miss seeing at least one building going up at any time. You may remember when I first came, I said that I never wanted to see the campus without a building crane. And I'm proud to say that we've rarely been without a building crane. Number 7, thank you. I will miss cheering on the Vikes from the President's Suite at PGE Field, Providence Field, whatever it's now called. I gotta say, the cheering could have been more joyful than it was. We keep trying. Number 6 that I will miss, they have left, but being moved to tears at the choir's Hallelujah. No matter how many times I've heard it, I still can't keep a dry eye when they do that. Number 5, what I will miss is seeing the pride of faculty when they hood their PhD students, and so many other times when I see faculty interacting with the students. That's the core of what we're about, and just seeing that joy and that pride, that's really what we're about. It's a wonderful thing. Number 4, I will miss welcoming the international students to what I can tell them from my own experience will be the most amazing experience of their life. I do warn them, though, watch out, because you may stay here forever. Number 3, hearing the story of a student who succeeded against all odds and thanking the donor who made it possible. And please give a round of applause for all of you, because many of you are those donors. Number 2, I will miss the wonderful camaraderie of the President's office, the amazing support of the staff there. Claire, Rachel, Lois, wherever you are right now, please stand up, because we couldn't have succeeded without you. And with that, also the teamwork of the whole executive committee, especially in times of crisis. So, colleagues from the executive committee, please stand up. Lois, David, Carmen, Kevin, Sanne, John, you're amazing colleagues. But number 1, what I will miss, of course, is all of you. This amazing community of Portland State, that welcomed us, that has been so great to work with, who've been so generous with your time, your advice, your resources, your talent, just making us feel that it was possible to make a difference. I've often talked about that Portlanders believe in the makeability of place. It's one of the most wonderful attributes of this city. We believe that we can make a difference, and we make it every day. We know that the perfect is the enemy of the good, as I've often said. We try. We don't strive for perfection, because we strive for perfection, but we don't get disappointed when we can't reach it, because we know waiting for perfection is the enemy of the good. When people have asked me, why are you leaving now? I've told them that after 9 years, I'm ready for something new. I like being on the steep part of the learning curve. It's not like I do the job perfectly, but I'm tired of making the same mistakes. I want to go make some new ones. It's been wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Please have some more drinks. Thank you, thank you, thank you.